You pull an all-nighter. You color code every note, reread the textbook twice, and then, the next day, 70% of it is gone. This graph charts the forgetting curve. It measures how your brain instinctively dumps almost everything you passively absorb within the first 24 hours. While Western students fight this by cramming harder, top students in Japan and China execute a different approach to learning. Over the next few minutes, we are going to build your personalized 3-step retention system in real time. To set this up, you need 3 things right now. Grab whatever you are currently studying, a blank sheet of paper with a pen, and your digital calendar. Creating this physical setup stops you from being a passive reader and forces your brain to become an active engine for permanent memory. Step 1 targets the immediate friction of sitting down to study. Looking at a massive 500-page textbook paralyzes you before you even begin. In a standard Western classroom environment, you're often expected to sit and passively absorb thick volumes of material in a single, exhausting session. Instead, we are going to use the Kumon method. This means breaking your learning down into tiny, bite-sized daily lessons rather than huge cramming blocks. Look at your study material. Find one single page or one core concept and isolate it. That is your only focus today. This chart compares sporadic cramming blocks to a smooth 1% daily compounding rate. That tiny, consistent daily progress multiplies exponentially over a 30-day timeline. Slicing your material into micro-goals prevents cognitive overload and reduces the friction of starting your session. Now that you have your single concept isolated, we have to change how you consume it. Most students rely on highlighting and rereading, which is strictly passive input. We are replacing that with active recall. Read your single page, then close the book. Take your blank paper and write out everything you can remember without looking. Here is the strict rule for this step. For every 20 minutes you spend reading, you must spend 10 minutes facing that blank page. At first, your mind will go blank. That is exactly what is supposed to happen. Trying to recall information is frustrating and difficult. This network visualization shows what is physically happening inside your head during that struggle. The effort required to retrieve information forces those weak connections to spark and solidify into permanent pathways. It operates on the same logic as traditional Eastern rote repetition. The physical act of repeatedly writing out characters or formulas trains the brain to retrieve them over time. Your memory isn't built by how much information you passively push in, but by the physical effort required to pull it back out. Once you've built that memory, you have to maintain it. Think of cramming like dumping a gallon of water on a plant all at once. It overflows. Strategic spaced repetition is like watering it at regular intervals. Open your digital calendar or spaced repetition app so we can lock in this schedule. Find tomorrow's date and block out a specific time. That is your first required review session for the single concept you studied today. This timeline plots the sequence needed to guarantee deep retention. After day 1, schedule subsequent reviews for 3 days, 1 week, and 1 month later. Each time you hit a scheduled review, you interrupt the forgetting curve, locking the knowledge in deeper and making the curve flatter every single time. Implementing this exact sequence takes studying from a frantic last-minute panic and turns it into a structured routine where every review is already accounted for. Look at what is sitting in front of you. You have a tiny, isolated goal, a handwritten active recall sheet, and a fully scheduled calendar. You've stepped away from the passive cramming cycle. You now have a tangible mechanical system to process information. Here is your challenge. Pick one difficult subject and run it through this exact 3-step system for the next 7 days. If you trust the daily chunks, the blank page, and the calendar intervals, your brain will retrieve that information during your exam with significantly more speed and accuracy. Subscribe for more practical study techniques, and go start your 10-minute active recall session now.